welcome to the show. Thanks for checking me out, guys. This is episode number 1. Hey, I did it. You have no idea what it was like to get to this point, okay? I went through a lot of stuff to get here with this show. A lot of fits and starts and trying to figure some things out, but I did, and I love it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So in this episode, I should first and foremost tell you that this show, for me, is fun. It's fun. It's a way to kind of let off some steam throughout the week and to talk about some really important issues, too. I mean, it's not all like, heavy, but there's some stuff that we're going to talk about that I think you guys may be interested in, too. And I'm sure you'll have your feedback as well. All right. So this is the show where I basically give people advice who didn't ask me for it. But I'm going to give it anyway because I'm an opinionated chick from Brooklyn, so what the hell, right? Where I get this advice, these problems from, rather, is from the internet. And I go into advice columns across the internet and I pull questions that I think are the most interesting, that kind of are timely and ring my bell, as they say, pique my interest. And the reason I do that, as opposed to soliciting questions from you guys, is because it gives me the distance that I need and want right now to be able to answer these questions, right? Because some of these questions and problems are actually they're old, or some of them are new or whatever, but the fact that they're not being sent to me kind of absolves me of the weight of having to give an answer that someone is going to take 100% seriously and live by. God help you if you do. That brings me to my disclaimer. My disclaimer for this show, well, and in life in general, is, look, I am no, therapist. I'm not an expert in relationships. I don't claim to be. I don't want to be. All right. So please don't take this show that seriously. This is just me, having a good time. This is shits and giggles and good conversation. And that's it. And no hold barred. Like we're going to get it out there and say what we need to say. But I'm not in any way a therapist, nor do I claim to be. So if you take my advice, okay, good luck, but it may help you or it may totally screw you up. I'm just saying it ain't my fault. And by the way, that's why I don't have kids either, because God knows I could not have a kid looking up at me going, Mom, it's your fault. I'm so screwed up. Yeah, no, I don't think I'd do too well with that. But this being the first episode, I think I picked a really good question, a really good problem. And it's by some guy who's an introvert and who's dating a woman who's not an introvert. And we know what that's all about. And the woman has a kid he calls the kid the devil child. I know he probably doesn't mean that the child is evil, but you know what I'm talking about, guys. It's that kid who is not being disciplined and he doesn't know what to do, the poor sap. He just is all lost. And we're going to try to give him some direction, even though he may never hear my advice. I'm going to give it to him anyway. But also, I want you guys to write in and tell me what your advice is. This is an interactive type thing. I am in no way saying that my advice is the best and that it's the shit. I mean, it is, but I'm not saying that it's the only answer by any means. So if you are listening to this and you feel like, Charlie, you kind of hit the mark, but I think I have a better solution. Or maybe you lived through something similarly and you just kind of want to give your feedback or your personal story or whatever, head on over to the blog. Actually, you can click in the show notes. I will have a link to that actual problem on the website. And our website is nobodyaskedpodcast.com. That link is going to take you to that blog post that has, the actual question. You can read it for yourself and it will have a link to the actual advice column that it came from, because I like to give credit and, where credit is due. These questions aren't coming to me. I'm actually finding them across the internet. So I am digging into the bowels of the internet and pulling out people's problems. God help me. And you can go to the website and answer in the comment section, or you can actually leave a message. There'll be a link where you can kind of do a recording of your own on the site and just give me a couple of minutes of what you think. And, if it's all good, I may play it on the show. Boom. There you go. The other thing is, let's see, I had another couple of little things. I'm going to get into this really quickly. Offer your advice. I'm not a relationship expert. I covered that. And, I have an announcement. My first announcement is that I'm doing an event on March the 24th. It's actually a workshop called How to Live Stream A to Z. So if you happen to be a person, a marketer, someone who's trying to build their brand or whatever, who is trying to figure out live streaming, everything from mobile to multicam, Facebook Live to Periscope to Blab to, all these different platforms, check it out. Go to the website. Again, this link will be in the show notes, but go to howtolivestream.splashthat.com. And check it out. It's going to be like 3 hours, and it's just going to be a really good time. I'm actually doing it with Catherine Vell-Jones. She is a legend in live streaming. She's done a lot of amazing things. You will learn a lot from her. And I'm going to cover the marketing end of it and how you can kind of build a community, blah, blah, blah. So check it out. And let's see what else. Yeah, I'm just going to let you guys get into the problem because it's a long one. I have to admit, they're not all going to be 30 minutes of me talking about the problem or going into it. But this one was really involved. And this guy, I like the way he framed the problem. And he's very analytical, very much like an introvert, very analytical. And he goes deep. And I like that. So sit back, relax, let me know what you think. Hit up the website, follow me on Twitter. I'm at It's Complicated. You can follow the other social networks on the website. Let me know what you think. Subscribe, share, enjoy. All right? Hey, would you date someone who had a kid that was way out of control and pretty much a terror to... I probably shouldn't say that about kids, right? All kids are beautiful. They're wonderful. They're so sweet. Not really. Some of them are unruly because the parents aren't taking responsibility with regards to discipline, right? We know this. All right. So this poor guy who calls himself In Over My Head sent a letter into Dear Polly, and he needs help. And here's what he says. He says, as a guy in his early 30s, most letters and responses have given me different perspectives to consider and appreciate. I spent my 20s focused on my career, myself. I didn't date, moved often, lived alone, and very rarely put myself out there. 5 years ago, I found the job that made me feel I could finally put roots down and start to get serious with a relationship. After a few short relationships didn't work out over the last couple of years, I met someone a few months ago who made me think she could be a woman I might spend the rest of my life with. She's my age, a single mother, very sweet, attractive, intelligent, with a great career. She's caring and empathetic, and we love many of the same things. Conversations come naturally. Things have been mostly, and that's italicized, all right, mostly great from day one. Like any relationship, there are some issues. Unfortunately, after having been alone for so long, I simply don't know if these issues are minor or legitimate death sentences. My guess is each of these is connected, and when combined, they might doom this relationship. The first is proximity. We met at a bar, and at the end of the night, found out we lived in the same apartment building on the same floor, 50 feet away from each other. Damn. There are clear benefits to this. The convenience is great. That said, I'm very much an introvert, used to living my entire adult life alone. It's been a complete shock to have someone always there. That's italicized. Always there is italicized. If not physically, then with the knowledge that in 10 seconds they could be. Right? While she initially told me she too was an introvert who needed time alone, more and more it's become obvious that she was at worst lying, at best fudging the truth. While she's trying to accept that I need time alone to recharge, she really would like me to be there whenever I'm available. All right. The second is our sex life. Contrary to what many women apparently believe, there are guys out there who don't actually crave sex all the time. I'm one of them. I know more guy friends and relatives than not who are similar. I've never had an emotional connection because of sex, and it's never been a way for me to feel closer to anyone. Sex is a physical thing for me, and in the past has been more trouble than it's worth. I do enjoy it and consider myself a giving and attentive lover, but like a lot of people, I have to be in the mood. It just seems to happen, only once or twice a week. My girlfriend isn't like that. For her, sex is an emotional act. It's how she feels close to me. For her, the more sex, the better. And she doesn't understand how I can be in love with her while not expressing constant, passionate feelings that manifest themselves in bed. All right. The last issue, wait, there's more. The last issue is her 5-year-old kid. All right. It isn't so much him, though, as her parenting. She went through an ugly divorce that left her feeling isolated from family and friends. Consequently, she made herself her child's best friend. Okay. Wow. And instead of showing discipline when her child demanded it, she let him have his way. He's gotten whatever he's wanted, and he's learned that he can yell, demand things, talk back, and ignore orders because he will inevitably get what he wants. His mother is sweet to a fault. She won't raise her voice. She won't punish or curtail bad behavior. And everything he does is a positive. Lately, however, I think he's becoming too much for her. I get texts all day about his bad behavior, breaking her down. When I say I hope he's being made to experience consequences, I get a desperate how, or explanations that it's too hard for her to do alone. I feel like as a new boyfriend, it isn't my place to be the disciplinarian. So unfortunately, I sit by and watch him run rampant over her on a daily basis. Not only does it frustrate her, but it kills any romantic feelings I may have. Weekend plans get blown to hell. Date nights are cut short. Romance is replaced with parental duties. Then, when I'm no longer in the mood, she wonders why. This is what we're dealing with. I'm feeling a little smothered. She's feeling undersexed. And at the center of it all is a little devil child. No one seems to know what to do with. She's going through working out custody. Soon she'll have him, weeks on and off. And selfishly, I'm looking forward to it. But until then, she's frustrated, and I'm trying to be delicate about the situation. Is there a way to talk with her about these issues without being insensitive? This is the first relationship I've had that I'm genuinely trying to make work, and I'm feeling stuck. Thanks. Maybe in over my head. Oh, damn, you sound more than in over your head. You actually sound like you're drowning. All right, this is a long letter. By the time I got to the second complaint or issue, I was in my mind thinking, yeah, this is a lot, It's a lot. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Well, let me go back to your question. I always like to kind of rephrase the question here. Boom, 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 go down. All right, this is the first relationship I've had that I'm genuinely trying to make work, and I feel stuck. All right. Is there a way to talk with her about these issues without being insensitive? Of course there is, but the question is, will she still receive it in the manner in which it's being given and then know what to do with it? Do you know what I mean? So you can be as sensitive as you want to be. It doesn't mean that she's going to receive it in a mature way. It doesn't mean that she's going to receive it in a way that's befitting the way that you're giving it to her. You can go to her very maturely, very sensitively, very manly, and say, this is what I feel. I feel this. I think this, perhaps that. She may still have a nervous breakdown. She may still start crying, and you have to expect that. I always say, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. She may not be ready to hear this from you. So I think that I've read your letter and you sound like a fairly sensitive person. And listen, because you're an introvert, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you probably are very sensitive in how you speak to people. I think so. I'm an introvert, okay? And I can be a hammer at times, but I'm always mindful of other people's feelings when I talk to them, especially about delicate situations. So you can be sensitive, but that's kind of not the point. The point is that she's going to probably have a meltdown no matter what, no matter how sensitive you are, all right? But let's go back up to the top of your letter because you have a lot of stuff in here. And first of all, coming from not dating for a long time, this is a lot to take on. Let's see. All right, it's a guy in your 30s. You're in your 30s. And you're very measured. I can tell you're an introvert. I love this. You can say, most letters and responses have given me different perspectives to consider and appreciate. So you're analytical. You're thoughtful. You sound like you really do think long and hard before making judgments, and that you appreciate that analytical approach. And that, by all definitions, is an introvert. Introverts are very, very analytical. We like to hear different things, different points of view. We like to take in all the information and consider it. So good for you. All right, I spent my 20s focused on myself and my career. Good for you. That's what we're supposed to do. Be completely selfish assholes in our 20s until we learn how to give to the world and be more, until we figure out what the hell we want, right? I didn't date. I moved often. I lived alone. Very rarely put myself out there. 5 years ago, I found the job that made me feel I could finally put my roots down and start to get serious in a relationship. So you're in your 30s, right? I'm thinking you're probably in your young 30s. That's a good time to start settling down. After a few short relationships didn't work out, good for you. You got yourself out there, out into the world again. You started dating, and that's not easy. Please, we know that's not easy. I met someone a few months ago who made me think she could be a woman I might spend the rest of my life with. Great. She's my age, awesome, single, sweet, attractive, intelligent, all the things. You got all the check marks going here with this girl, right? She's it. Caring, empathetic. We love many of the same things. Conversations come naturally. Things have been mostly great. Now, what I love about this paragraph, I'm going to tell you guys. Excuse me. You can tell a lot about a person's mindset based on how they present a problem to you. That's why I don't want to say I love, but I think I like listening to people talk about their problems, although I don't welcome everyone giving me their problems, because you learn a lot about a person based on how they frame or phrase a problem. Now, some people, when they talk about their problems or they present a problem to you, a friend or whatever, they'll be like, oh, this is happening to me, and oh, woe is me, and oh, the world hates me, and why. And then other people, like this guy, will give a more measured, thoughtful analysis of their own problems. Okay. And that's to me, the best case scenario. So this guy has set up, this is a really good letter, by the way. He has set up his past, how he's brought himself to this point in his life. And he's first and foremost talked about how beautiful she is. He's laying out all of the positives. And that's the stuff that I look for in questions about relationships. If you fire off a letter where all you do is trash your spouse and say, oh, I can't take it, he does this, he does that, I hate him, he said that, and then what do I do? Is there a chance for us to fix this? It's like, well, fuck, you haven't even said one positive thing about him. You haven't said that you love him. You haven't said that he's been amazing for you, been a support to you or anything. So yeah, there's more of a problem here than I can solve for you, But this guy's not doing that. He's actually being very thoughtful in explaining what he loves about her. So I like that. Yay. That's actually a good sign. All right. Where shit starts to go left is in the last sentence to this paragraph where he says things have been mostly great. That mostly is italicized. Like in a relationship, there's some issues. So he's realistic. You're a realist. You know that things are not always going to be perfect. I like that. Unfortunately, having been alone for so long, I simply don't know if these issues are minor or legitimate death sentences. See, again, that right there is an internal thought process that to me is very mature. And what I mean by that is that it's easy for us to look at a problem and to think that it is a big problem. When you are sort of introspective and reflective and very analytical, you tend to take a step outside of the problem and view the problem for what it is, but then ask yourself, now, is this my perspective on this because I'm A, Z, or, A, B, or C, or is this a real problem? You know what I mean? Like you always seek to see if it's coming from within or if this is the reality that's presented itself. So I love that. I just love that. I love thoughtful people. I think this guy is really thoughtful. Like in a relationship, there's issues, unfortunately. Okay, having been out, he already said that. My guess is each of these is connected. And when combined, they might doom this relationship. Bingo. Bingo, bingo. This guy is really smart. I like him. I like you, dude. In over your head. You're not as in over your head as you think you are. You think, well, maybe you are in a relationship, but you think through things very well. And this statement right here, my guess is that each of these problems are connected. And when combined, they'll doom the relationship. Honestly, I think that's the crust. I think that's the gist of it right there. I think you just pretty much answered your own question in this advice column. But let's go further. Let's go a little further. The first is proximity. Yeah, dude. You live 50 feet down the hall from each other. And to be honest with you, even if you were an extrovert, that would be uncomfortable for a number of reasons. I mean, in the beginning, that might be cool. You guys can knock on each other's door at like 1 a.m. and baby, that would give new meaning to the term booty call, right? Because you could do a booty call and then have that booty right next to you in 5 minutes. I mean, that's hot in the beginning. That shit gets real old really quickly, because especially if you're an introvert, the idea that someone can just come down the hall and knock on your door at any time and feel as if they're entitled to be in your space because they're down the hall. Well, hell, you might as well be living together. There is no separation of space there. Those 50 feet might as well be 5 inches. That's just my thought. So that is a problem. And I have to be honest with you that if this is something that you wanted to continue with her, the fact that you have so much of a problem with this living arrangement is only going to become a bigger problem. And the idea that it is a big problem, you certainly don't sound like you're ready to move in with her or anything. So you would have to do something about that. And I doubt very seriously that she would likely understand this. I doubt that if you said to her, look, I'm going to get a new apartment. I'm going to get a new apartment across town. She would flip. But let's move down. Let's move down because there's other bigger issues here. The convenience is great. I get that. And she is telling you that she's an introvert and she's not. But I think a lot of people think that they're introverts when they aren't. So don't worry about that too much. She's trying to accept that I need time alone to recharge. She really would like me to be there whenever I'm available. And that's a problem. That's boundaries again, guys. Look, boundaries are important and everyone's boundaries are different. And if the other person in any relationship, whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, father, sister, brother, boss, whatever, if they're not understanding your boundaries, and you're not understanding their boundaries, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. People have to respect each other's boundaries. And listen, you don't even have to understand them. You don't need to fully understand that I have to recharge, but you have to accept that that's a fact and that you need to respect that it just is what it is and not cross that boundary. So the fact that she doesn't understand that is a problem. It's a big problem because, you're not living together, but she's acting as if you are. All right. So the second is your sex life. Oh, this is huge. Contrary to what many women apparently believe, there are guys out there. Exactly. Everybody has a different sex drive. And what concerns me about this portion of the problem is that your sex drive is what it is. Okay. For whatever reason, you have a lower sex drive. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. 2 times a week is good for you. That may never change. That may just be who you are. And Julio. The problem that I have with this and where I think the problem comes in is obviously her expectations of how she defines a healthy sexual relationship, as well as maybe her sexual drive is a little higher than yours. But also more than that, you're very, very astute here because you say, my girlfriend isn't like that. For her, sex is an emotional act, like it is for a lot of women, right? It's how she feels close to me. For her, the more sex, the better. And she doesn't understand how I can be in love with her while not expressing constant, passionate feelings that manifest themselves in bed. So here's the problem I have with that statement. You're so good at analyzing this. This is not so much about a difference in sexual appetite, whereas you don't need it as much, and she may be very much more sexually active. I think this is just more about her neediness emotionally. And that's completely different. Because this is not about, you didn't say here in this, and guys, just hear me out on this. He's not saying here that she is needing sex a lot, that she's saying, I've got to fuck 5 times a week. I am extremely active sexually. I love sex. Because there's nothing wrong with that, right? But he's not saying that that's the issue here. He's saying that she can't understand how he doesn't want her and express his passion for her as much as possible. That's not about sex. That's about her neediness. And this chick is beginning to sound needier and needier and needier as we go down this letter. This right here, for me, would probably be enough to turn me off, right? Because really, that's just draining. I mean, that is just draining. This is not about sex. This is about her constantly needing to be. And then listen, there's nothing wrong. I mean, obviously sex is an emotional thing and it's okay. It bonds people and I get that. But it sounds like you two may be at an impasse here for sure. All right. Because you can't fake it and she can't, she needs what she needs. And here's the thing. There are plenty of men there are plenty of men Guys, can I get a hello? There are plenty of men in the world who would screw her brains every night. Oh, that's what you want? Come here, girl. I got what you need right here. Yeah, there's plenty of men who would do that every night. If she equates that with, the connection, she can get that. She's not going to get it with you, though. You can't fake that. All right. And the next thing is the last issue, which is the biggie. I love how you saved the biggest issue for the last. This guy knows how to tell a story. I'm going to put this up on the blog on my site, as I always do. You guys just read this through. It's a beautifully written letter. He says, this is the last problem, and I think the biggest. The last issue is her 5-year-old kid. It's not so much him, right? Because it's never really the kids. Kids are kids, right? It's her parenting. She went through an ugly divorce. Oh my God. All right. She went through an ugly divorce that left her feeling isolated from family and friends. Bingo. That's probably why she's so emotionally needy. That's probably why she's so clingy with you being down the hall. That's probably why she needs you to, screw her like 5 times a week or 10 times a week or whatever. She is emotionally, and I'm not saying, listen, let's not judge her. She's probably going through a lot and, whatever. It's difficult. But if she's feeling that disconnected from family and friends, plus she just went through a divorce, yeah, she's an emotionally needy space right now. And that may change, but it might not, right? So, all right. Consequently, she made her child her best friend. Big mistake. All right. And instead of showing discipline when her child demanded it, she let him have his way. All right. Oh, I hate that. Okay. That was the truck outside backing up. Let's see. I have his way. He's gotten whatever. See, I hate this. Listen to that. Oh, God damn. There's always something going on in the streets outside, I swear. How long can you back up? How long can you back a truck up? Shit, I hate this. See, this is where I start sounding like a cranky old lady. Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay. So anyway, yeah. So going back to this kid who's not being disciplined, she's letting him have his way. He's gotten whatever he's wanted, and he's learned that he can yell, demand things, talk back, and ignore orders because he will inevitably get what he wants, right? Okay. His mother is so sweet to a fault. She won't raise her voice. She won't punish. She won't curtail bad behavior. And everything he does is positive in her mind. Lately, however, I think he's becoming too much for her. Of course he is. Of course he is. He's 5 years old. Let me tell you something. Again, I'm not a parent, but let me tell you something. I know this for a fact. If you don't begin to discipline your child immediately, and it doesn't mean hitting them, and it doesn't mean, abusing them. That's not what it means. It means if you don't begin to set boundaries, again, this woman sounds like someone who does not understand or respect boundaries, then children will also run over those boundaries or feel as if there aren't any. This is why boundaries are so important, guys. I'm telling you. And let me tell you something. She is teaching that kid to have a lack of respect for other people's boundaries very much the way she does. Okay, she doesn't have any, so the kid doesn't have any. So he's demanding. He's being a little asshole. He's being what kids would be if they don't have structure. And that's not your fault. She's the parent, and it is what it is. But yeah, man, let me tell you something. This 5-year-old is one day going to be a 15-year-old. Imagine if he was 15. All right, this is what I'm telling you, y'all. Guys, you think this is cute at 5? It's not. It's not. That 5-year-old is going to become a 15-year-old. Okay. So going back into it. Let's see. Lately, however, I think he's becoming too much for her. Of course he is. I get texts all day about his bad behavior, breaking her down. The girl is not able to handle parenting right now. It's hard by herself, I'm sure, but she's breaking down. Right, guys? Okay. When I say I hope he's being made to experience consequences, which is a nice way to put it. I mean, because he can honestly say to her, are you disciplining him? Why aren't you disciplining him? He's actually just asking her, is the kid experiencing some sort of consequences for her behavior? And she says, how or no? That's a problem. I mean, this is a person who does not know or who is refusing to discipline their child. And she's looking to you to do this. That's a problem. Do you want to be a parent right now? And do you want to be a parent to a child whose actual parent is not even disciplining them? Probably not. I sit by and watch him run rampant over her on a daily basis. That's draining, right? That is draining. For me, if I watch, you know what it's like when you see a kid on a bus or a train or in public who is being disrespectful. Now, kids, sometimes they of course, misbehave, especially when they're really, really young. You can't do anything about that. But there are some kids who are clearly disrespectful of their parents because their parents aren't setting boundaries, right? They curse their parents out, they yell, they scream, they don't know how to act. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to see that for even 5 minutes because you know that, you know that the kid is being taught to be an asshole. Okay. And the parents aren't doing anything. And there's something in society, I think, where most people see that it's uncomfortable. It's even a turnoff, right? Because it feels as if, dude, just do your job. Far be it for me to tell you what to do in your life. Do your job. Be a parent. Discipline your child. All right. Poor kid needs that. Poor kid is crying out for that right now. The kid needs discipline. You know, and to watch a child disrespect their parent like that, it's just really uncomfortable. So yeah, I don't blame you for being uncomfortable. I don't know if you can live with that. Weekend plans get blown to hell, date nights, yeah. All of that. Everything gets shot, man. Then when I'm no longer in the mood, she wonders why. All right. So he basically says here, I know this is a long one, guys, but it's a good one. I like this particular problem and how he's phrasing it. I'm feeling a little smothered. You are, by the way. She's feeling undersexed. She is. All right. And at the center of it all is a devil child. He called her a devil child. Yeah, well, you know. No one seems to know what to do with. All right. She's going through working out custody. Oh, my God. Custody battle. She'll have him weeks on, weeks off. Oh, my God. Frustrated, trying to be delicate about the situation. Is there any way to talk to her? But all right, that's it. That was the whole shebang. I went through everything. Okay, so what does that mean? Going back up to the top where you basically say the three of these things are intertwined and they are. The kid drains to both of you. It makes you not really even want to touch her because it's such a turnoff that you're dealing with this kid who's losing his mind and the parent, and she won't discipline him. She's down the hall. You don't get any kind of reprieve from her or her kid. Hell yeah, that would be maddening. It'd be different if this was even in the best case scenario. Let's say she was a great disciplinarian and her kid was really a beautiful kid, loved you, you were close to all of them. Even that, if you need your space and you're uncomfortable with having her right down the hall, even that would be still uncomfortable. But this is the worst case scenario. She's extremely emotionally needy. That much is a fact, as you've laid it out. And her kid is a nightmare. She doesn't discipline him. And she's bothering you all day with text messages. I mean, fuck, you live down the hall from her. She can't wait to see you in the evening before she starts talking to you about her kid and her problems. She's emailing you. She's texting you all day. So you're dealing with her all day. You're coming home, getting that on the door. Hi, can I come in? I want to talk. Can you hold me? Oh my God, I would go crazy. Look, dude, here's the thing. The bottom line, I feel like you gotta get rid of her. You gotta get rid of her. That may sound cold, but by all of your accounts here, this is more than you signed up for. All right. And you don't sound as if you are willing to, if you are willing to talk to her, the issues are so deep and they're so rooted in her, who she is as a person and who you are as a person. That it just seems like it's not even worth it. If you're looking for someone who's going to be what, do you want to marry that? If you don't want to marry that and you don't feel like you want to be married to that, I always say, when you look at a person and ask yourself, do I want to be with this person for the rest of my life? You don't look at the person when they're in their best light. Everybody wants to marry the person when they're wonderful and wealthy and successful and beautiful or whatever. You look at the person when they're at their worst. And you say, can I live with that for the next 20, 30, 40 years of my life? And you might be looking at her worst right now, right? And hey, in all fairness to her, she just might need to work out some things. She might be going through a difficult time and she might come out the other side. She might even get better at parenting. She might take some parenting classes. She might figure out some things. But the question is, if she doesn't, can you live with this? Can you marry this? And if the answer is no, I would bounce. There's just way too much going on here. How do you do it though? How do you leave? How do you walk away from this relationship when she's right down the hall? Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I think, there's no easy way to do something like this. It's going to hurt no matter what. It's going to hurt her, and it may even hurt you trying to figure out, just watching the situation. But look at it this way. There's a child involved. All right. And you, I guess, are becoming close to the child. Or at the very least, the child is becoming close to you. And honestly, I think if for nothing else, with a child involved, for the sake of that, you have to be willing to do the right thing and do it quickly. And what I mean by right thing is I mean what's right for you, first and foremost, and what's right for your relationship with her. All right. So, you have to begin to peel away. And the conversation that I would have with her is, I'm not really happy here. There's way too much. You need more sex. I don't. I can't deal with the being a parent right now. You may not want to say anything negative about her child. Don't do that. But just say to her, I'm not a parent right now. And I'm not interested in being a parent. And it's not that I don't love your son, or it's not that, but I'm realizing that I want different things for my life. She's not going to be happy, but she'll figure it out. And then, to be honest with you, I would move. Because it's going to be really, and I know that sounds like a horrible thing, right? To have to move. I don't know, but I don't know. It depends on how long you've been dating, but it's an ugly situation being that close to her. And if you can be okay with setting those boundaries and saying, I will be friends with you. But the problem is that even as friends, she will still be on your door. I know we're not dating anymore. I know, but can I just come in and talk to you? Can you watch little Joey for me? Can you please? Let me tell you something. I'd say, I gotta go. I'm out. I'd find a new apartment and I call it a day. But that's me. What do you guys think? What would you tell this guy? He sounds like a really smart guy. I like him. You'll find someone else, darling, and you'll find someone, and this is just a lesson in what you want and don't want. You know now that you don't want someone who doesn't respect your introverted boundaries, right? You know that you don't want someone who maybe you will date someone with a child, but you want to watch very closely how they discipline that child, how they are with their children. That's going to tell you a lot about how they would be when you have kids with them. All right? And you definitely, you just want to set out some boundaries the next time and make sure that they don't get crossed. So that's my spiel. I don't have those issues. I've never been in this situation, obviously, but I certainly have dated people who have had kids once or twice in my life. And, it gets complicated when there's kids involved. But anyway, that's my feedback. So anyway, guys, I will have the letter up on the site. You tell me what you think. I would love to know. It's a really well-written letter, too, so it's worth checking it out and leaving your feedback and your advice. Alrighty.